Hello, this is Scott Pacino, editor of Telecoms.com, here at NetworkX 2024, and I'm delighted to be speaking to Bejoy from Mavenir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here today.
Obviously, a big buzzword at the moment is AI. Can you talk a little bit about how Mavenir is using that to optimize networks?
Yeah, it's interesting because yesterday we just won the award for NetworkX.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And the award was about the most innovative cloud product. And when it comes to innovation in the cloud, it's all around automation, right?
Yeah.
Because unless you get to cloud native networks with automation, you're not reaping the benefits of moving there. So to us, getting there means once you have the cloud native networks, you get access to data. You could apply analytics on it, and that's where AI/ML comes in. So for us, we have a few solutions in that portfolio. It starts with something called NIAS, Network Intelligence as a Service. And we're doing that for the RAN networks first. What it essentially does is it can take network data, sift through it and make sure that if there's anything that's missing in the data, can I impute it? Meaning like a Gen AI use case, right? So impute for missing data. Then you apply that to figure out when there's a problem, a KPI degradation, a key performance indicator degradation in the network, why did that happen?
Yeah.
And when it happens, what is the recommendation to take? So AI has been applied in each one of these stages to make a prediction, to make an inference, to make a recommendation, as well as when there's missing data to impute. So that's one clear use case where we're implementing AI for network optimization. But it goes beyond that. So say, for example, there's AI projects that we're doing with Intel, with other third parties on the RAN side and on the packet core to apply better spectral efficiency, to get better handover throughput, to do better energy savings. So these are implemented as RApps or XApps on the RAN side. It's implemented as use cases on the packet core itself. So there's work end-to-end that we're doing to realize AI/ML. And of course, the last piece to it is this partnership that we have with NVIDIA, where we're leveraging the NVIDIA AI stack with the GPUs to do better and faster network operations, to support network operations to figure out when there are problems. How do you figure out that using AI? So these are three main use cases. We're not in the customer service. We don't directly interface to customers. So we're not in the business of building chatbot and customer interaction use cases, which is where the majority of Gen AI and agential interest is right now. So for operators and the space that we play in, it primarily boils down to what's the best way to do network engineering and network operations, and how can we run our networks more efficiently in our products, give the best benefit out of it. And that's using AI for use cases like spectral efficiency improvement.
So another macro trend that transcends the telecoms industry, but very much is affecting telecoms industry, is sustainability. Can you talk a little bit about your activities in that area and how it affects the industry?
Sure. I mean, if you think about the industry in general for telco, right? In general, they say, and this is not Mavenir numbers, these are numbers coming from external analysts who operate in this space. If you look at the telco carbon consumption or the telco CO2 emission, they globally consume anywhere between 1.6 to 2.6%. And actually, interestingly, it turns out that's even higher than what the airline industry consumes.
Yes,
right? You would think,
I wouldn't have thought that.
You wouldn't have thought that, right?
No.
Because you would think airline with all these international flights and people flying private jets is throwing a lot more bad energy consumption, and versus that's not the case because you have all these data centers. And now there's, of course, movement in the data centers with Gen AI, with liquid cooling, and some of the newer GPUs that come out from NVIDIA and others require liquid cooling. Otherwise, it's just not going to run.
Yeah.
So where I'm coming at is this from the Mavenir perspective, for the products that we play in, the RAN is, of course, for the operator, the biggest energy consumption part. Of course, you have data centers and all that, but if you look at end-to-end, energy is around 10 to 20% of the overall TCO. Out of the OpEx, this is I've seen stats anywhere from 15 to 40% of the OpEx is based on the energy. Now, within there, the RAN makes up anywhere from 60 to 75%, which means that if the RAN is not properly optimized, you could end up with soaring energy cost. So a big focus of what we do is getting a next-gen products to be more energy efficient, way less, because that also results in better energy efficiency, right? So for example, on our Gen 2 radios, it's been benchmarked by Vodafone. There's public press releases that we've done in the past which says that this is the lowest weight on the massive MIMO side, the least energy consuming. So that's good for us. In fact, we just had a press release last week for an award that we won for our packet core, which was the most energy efficient product that's out there. But for us, it's making sure that the impact that we have on energy consumption cuts end to end.
Yeah.
On the RAN side, just because of the sheer impact that we'll have on the total energy consumption for the operator. And there we are applying AI with the RIC, near real-time and non-real-time RIC use cases of traffic steering and energy consumption to lower the energy consumption in the network. So we view it as an end-to-end initiative for the operators, for the core in terms of control plane utilization, even things like taking the benefit of cloud-native automation. So at nighttime when there's not enough traffic in the network, why run everything at peak load, even on the services side,
Makes
right?
sense.
So how could you use orchestration and scaling with cloud-native applications to scale down during nighttime?
Okay.
And that's not possible in a non-cloud native network. So we're focusing on that part for the core. And on the RAN side, of course, we're building the next generation radios and doing everything in software for the baseband side to consume the least amount of energy.
So we don't have that much time left, but just one last question. I was wondering if you could just give us a sense of how Mavenir sees the future of sort of connectivity and smarter networks. You might have covered some of it in your previous answers, but just a brief look to the future from a Mavenir perspective.
I would say if I break up the segments, Open RAN is going to evolve to AI RAN. It started with the whole initiative is open, and openness was to get access to general purpose silicon, not have to build ASICs, get access to the data, because that's going to be key to how you mine it and eventually be able to apply AI. So AI in RAN for monetization, for network efficiency, network operations, customer experience improvement is the first key thing that we look into the future. Secondly, things like TN-NTN integration, because there'll be a lot more coverage that's needed, so terrestrial networks and non-terrestrial networks coming together. API, we are hoping that it takes off more because that could be a way to monetize the network. And of course, how the network is being managed and getting to autonomous networks in the future. So doing truly native AI on the RAN side, applying AI-based implementation for proactive network management. So eventually you get to level 4 autonomous networks. We see once you can get to that stage, that's when you could truly realize the benefits of an operator network running at scale with highest network efficiency and at the lowest cost. And it all starts with the networks being open and being cloud native.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having Mavenir, and good to talk to you again.
You too.